hear shit. Jeez. I hope that's on now. That's the thing. Can't test it or check. Hilarious. Been live for 4 minutes. I see 8 people. I don't know if they're watching or what, but 6 now, but I don't even know if you could hear me. I was an idiot and I didn't turn this thing on. Anyhow, I'm talking about a song I'm making that has political comments or political samples in it. And earlier today, somebody made a comment to me, as I mentioned, that I felt like politics and music are really important right now. And I encouraged electronic musicians to start sampling more social political comments or, samples, voices or whatever in the music, and try to conduct, use your message, put a message through the medium. And because right now it's kind of a difficult time, I'd say, to be just hedonistically dancing and celebrating. And, so I come from a place, I was explaining, I come from a place of like late 80s hip hop, KRS-One, Public Enemy, Ice-T, Ice Cube, NWA. I mean, these artists that, talked about some serious shit going on. And I was young, and listening to this stuff as a young white kid in the suburbs. And that was my upbringing. So I'm kind of like lucky. And then right after that, I got into punk rock, like DOC. I grew up on DOC and listening to DOC. And then I got into NoFX. Ironically, those guys not long ago had hooked up and made music together. I thought that was the craziest thing, because I'd listened to those artists back to back, and they're some of my favorites. And I think I couldn't understand this person that wanted to kind of like lay it out in front of me that that's where they draw the line. They said, I draw the line at music and politics. You know what? I think I'm going to start. I feel like I should start this video over again at some point, but what does it matter? Who cares? It's not like someone's going to rewatch. Anyhow, if you're watching, hey, thank you. I don't know any of you guys that are subscribed, but please, like, interface with this, like, leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about this channel. I got all sorts of directions we can go. Give me some feedback. What do you want to see? What do you want to know? If you don't know already, my name is Ryan Bird. I'm a Squid Leader, and I do Sound Slime Records as my record label. And I've also got a little band, River Slime, with my son, kind of punk rock electronic thing. And I make a lot of different music. And I like to call it slime, or just what I do with music, slime, because I don't really hold myself to one thing. And, so I don't have these hard lines when it comes to music, like this person was telling me that they have a hard line between music and politics, and even, art and politics. And to me, that I can't understand that, because I'm trying to explain, I grew up on politicized rap and punk rock, and had a band myself, and was, writing songs that were like kind of looking at society and tearing it apart and finding what, we thought was wrong with it, or, injustices, right? Pointing these things out. And I do think it's important, right now. I think we need more conscious awareness, and music is going to be, if we're not using it for ourselves in this sense, it'll be used against us, and that might be hard to understand, but I've already seen it. I've already seen it as a propaganda tool. And so, I don't know if any of you are hip hop fans, But for me, it was all about that. It still is. I love Public Enemy. I love, you know, KRS One. I love Ice T. Ice T is one of my favorites. I know Ice T maybe had some other songs and shit. But Ice T, he taught also like to use your mind, like read books. Like this was like crazy because like Ice T was a showman. You know, he was like his gangster image was a persona. I mean, he still was like gangster for real, but like he made it larger than life in that sense that it worked really well with his rap image. And the thing was, he's a smart guy. Ice T's a really smart guy, and he's a reader. He's a book reader, and so he was like writing these crazy songs and having albums with guys with guns on their face and mouth, and like, I mean, just like portraying themselves like as a gang of all dressed in black, and like it just you'd think Ice T and these guys are just horrible, and Ice T was really kind of a funny dude, and would in the songs though that I'm thinking of, he's telling you to read books and to educate yourself. And this was another theme, like KRS One was like that. I mean, there was a I forget what it's really called. There is kind of a thing where you're trying to like make people educated or encourage them to do that. I don't know. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. But yeah, I just and that's where there's different things. So much has changed. Like when I listened to rap at those times, I never would have imagined the future of rap to become what it's become. And because you had back then, it was like the future of rap is Public Enemy. And it's like the future of rap has not become like Public Enemy, at least unless I'm mistaken. But I do think there are some artists like the artists, the Neighborhood Kids. If anyone's seen them, I think they're putting out some bangers. They've got a good message. They've got good lyrics. They got a good delivery. Yeah. So I don't know. Anyhow, this little speech is about just thinking that music and politics should be something that one can explore. And I mean, if your feeling is that it shouldn't go together, just keep that feeling to yourself. Maybe you need to step back and realize that not everyone's going to vibe with that, and that you maybe want to like just stay neutral. If your choice is to be neutral, then you shouldn't say anything, because you are going to piss somebody off. And you pissed me off, and I don't want to get pissed, but it's like, you're basically also saying you got some sort of issue with me and my art. And, because I'm saying, hey, I make music that has politics in it. I have for a long time. And so, um, and again, this person actually also recently tried to kind of discourage me from doing music. So watch out for people. I don't know. I'm getting real skeptical, but this song will be cool. I just hope that like people feel it, and it can lift spirits and motivate, and help define the direction we need to be going in ways. And I feel like every electronic musician right now has this capability. They have at their fingertips the power. They could take something a speech, something some reporter says, or just anything. There's so much being said right now in the public sphere that you could just grab. And it might be something, it could be anything, right? And you could point out the meaning of it. You could make the meaning of it. You get to repeat it into a song like a mantra and get it through to people's head. It's a different delivery system. You're you're packaging the information in a way that's almost more digestible, or more almost programmable, but like it's a fun thing. It's a fun way. It's like, it's subversive in a way, because it's just kind of, it's coinciding with music, but I've always thought it was rad. Um, when there's some sort of meaningful sample and something being said like in an electronic music song, and it just like it gets dropped and there's this like moment of, oh shit, they just said that, they just used that sample or whatever, right? And my beef is basically, hey, a lot of electronic music kind of more recently maybe even has just become a total kind of superficial, shallow scene, just trying to keep the party going, right? And it's not like moving much towards any sort of um, like destiny point. Like there's no, what is it really working on? I mean, are people, I guess, expanding their consciousness or something? But the problem is, if you go into that scene, you'll see that ketamine's a big problem, and a lot of people are rocked out of their mind, and there's a a lack of growth or expansion, and it's the wrong environment, and so and it promotes a lot of funky things, and so I think that the scene is dead. I think that the rave scene died. I think now this dubstep and Burning Man, I think this shit's dead. It's done. And if you're still trying to cling on to it, you're holding on to the old paradigm. Like, what are you doing? I got to ask you, what are you doing if you're think it's worth it to be partying right now, while the world's burning down around you, so to speak? I mean, but I can understand if there's something that has to do with like rally cry, bringing people together, and electronic music can do that. This isn't a bash on electronic music. It's just how we can use electronic music to really take things to the next level. We can use it as a tool, as a powerful tool. We can use it to engineer our dreams and our goals. It doesn't always have to be political, right? But right now we're in these kind of times where I think it should. I don't think it would hurt. And I think there's been a dropout of electronic musicians. Largely, economy is bad, right, for a lot of people, and music is not. It's gotten to be difficult for a lot of people, and so when times are good and the economy's good and people are just partying, these kind of parties could exist and could thrive, and there could be this little thing that people could create in little scenes, big scenes or whatever they're in, and find a way to survive doing that, so to speak. But their end goal is basically to get fucked up. The end goal is to just party, and that's the problem that happened too with punk rock, is that it just, there's a message there of, be aware, politically aware, socially aware, and yet people are belligerently drunk and, having crazy, just shit-faced moments. And I walked away from punk rock for that respect, but I came back to punk rock like realizing that it wasn't all about that, that's a part of it and you don't have to participate in that part. I think hip hop happened the same way. I mean, like I said, I grew up with hip hop being something kind of like, Public Enemy was my norm. That's what I thought things were going to be like. And that's how I imagined, like it said, the future of rap is Public Enemy. And when you had like, when weed kind of got into hip hop, because that's the weirdest thing. Weed was not like really in hip hop. It wasn't talked about much. It was kind of frowned upon. I mean, there were songs that even did say, no, we don't smoke weed, right? Like it does brain damage and shit. Like, and so I think that hip hop took this turn, of when gangster rap first started, it might have had the songs that were about, you know, pardon my language, but the bees, the money and stuff like that, that lifestyle. But there was also a lot of like conscious stuff and this, you know, kind of rebellion. And then it became more normalized to just talk about, girls and money and, sex and drugs. And weed became a thing that was more popularized. And, it's cool. I mean, I rocked it when Cypress Hill dropped that stuff, but I'm talking more like when the Chronic kind of came out and, that like it just I don't know, I didn't find the same thing happening in hip hop that had been happening at, at like at 99. It wasn't the same as 89, and I couldn't see that change would come and be like that. I didn't imagine that. But anyhow, um I love political music. It's fine by me. And when someone says, I've drawn the line between politics and my music, I mean, I just also think, well, that's a lot of classic rock you're not liking. I mean, shit, you're telling me you don't even like Pink Floyd and you claim to be psychedelic? Like, I'm sorry, but you're missing out. Like, you missed out on a lot of shit if you drew the line between politics and music. And like, because fuck, man, the 60s and 70s, like, these guys were making some serious political songs. They're timeless songs. I mean, and the wars, was going on, and they're making songs about this stuff that were like, and we're talking, they made this song with blood, sweat, and tears, playing all the instruments, singing all the harmonies, like everything. So you feel that. That's why those songs have stood the test of time and resonate to this day. And so I'm really just also like, whoa, it's not just politics that I've listened to and grew up on in punk rock or hip hop. It's politics that was part of classic rock that my dad grew up with, that even my dad kind of shifted from that hippie to yuppie to grumpy and lost touch with all that stuff. But like, that stuff's awesome. I mean, there's such Jimi Hendrix was. I mean, how political? You know what I mean? Like, I think about all the artists from that time that had something to say about politics in some way, at some point, at some form. You know what I mean? And it's just, my mind was blown when I heard this today. Like, I was in shock pretty much most of the day today. Still a little bit shook that this person decided to lay it down to me like that. And it was kind of rude because they also tried to say, I try not to let this come between me and other people. Well, you just did. If you try not to let it, then shut up. Don't even mention it. Don't let me know that you draw the line at music and politics and art and politics, and you just don't give an F about freaking politics. Don't do that. Just shut up. Don't let anybody know that. I mean, that's embarrassing. You should be embarrassed to admit that. Like, that's such a cop out. That's such a way to go. That's so lame. Why would you do that? So, especially to somebody who's so passionate about it, and then you're gonna turn around, and then he turn around and try to fucking uh kind of apologize or explain himself or whatever. And I'm just like, man, I'm just not having it. You opened your mouth. I don't know what to say. Like, I was impassioned about the politics and music and trying to encourage people to use music, but um I'm gonna work on this song, and I gotta get, I had to get that off my chest. And we'll see this who will watch this video and listen to me talking for 4 or 5 minutes almost, with the microphone off, I think. Okay, so peace out. And like I said, anybody out there, man, shoot it to me in a comment about, you found this channel, what you seen, what you like, what, you know, what you want to know more about it, or what the hell's going on. What you want to see more, what you want to know. I mean, I'd love to hear from you. So, thanks for watching, and pretty soon I'm gonna have the song up and out. It's gonna it's gonna bang. It's got some good bass in it. So I'll check you guys later. Peace. And how the hell do I end this?